Welcome XRP fans. It's been a huge day as the Ripple lawsuit finally comes to an end. The judge has ordered Ripple to pay a $125 million penalty in the SEC versus Ripple lawsuit. We're going to look into that. Also, there's more great news from Ripple over the UAE. We'll look into that. And I have a special clip for you you're not going to want to miss. We're going to hear words from Raoul Pal and Peter Schiff as they give their perspective on the national debt, the state of the US dollar, different assets, AI, blockchain technology, and more. If you're an XRP fan, you're not going to want to miss this video. Please do hit the like, share, and subscribe. Let's dive in. The moment XRP holders have been waiting for is finally here. Judge finds Ripple Labs liable for a $125 million penalty in SEC case, much less than what the SEC was wanting to get. Ripple's civil case with the SEC has been ongoing since December of 2020, when the regulator alleged the blockchain firm used XRP as an unregistered security to raise funds. A federal judge has ordered Ripple to pay a $125 million civil penalty and said the firm was permanently restrained and enjoined from violating United States securities laws as part of the case brought by the SEC. In an August 7th filing in the U.S. District Court of Southern District of New York, Judge Torres found Ripple liable for more than $125 million, which it was expected to pay to the SEC within 30 days. The judgment came following competing motions between Ripple and the financial regulator, which argued that the firm should pay a maximum civil penalty of $10 million or $2 billion, that's a big jump, respectively. Based on the court's independent analysis of Ripple's expert report summarizing the relevant contracts, the court finds that 1,278 transactions violated Section 5, resulting in a civil penalty of $125,035,150, said the filing. Regarding the injunction preventing Ripple from future violations of security laws, Judge Torres suggested that the firm's sales after SEC complaint was filed may not have violated federal law, but there is a reasonable probability of future violations. The court finds that Ripple's willingness to push the boundaries of the order invites a likelihood that it will eventually, if it has not already, cross the line, said Judge Torres. In an August 7th post, CEO Brad Garlinghouse suggested that the ruling was a victory for Ripple, the industry, and the rule of law, given the court reduced the SEC's proposed penalty by 94%. Ripple Chief Legal Officer Stuart Alderoty said the company would respect the $125 million fine. The lawsuit coming to an end for Ripple is not the only great news we've heard today. Of course, that is the major news. But check this out. Ripple has announced plans to partner with DIFC Innovation Hub, the thriving innovation ecosystem of Dubai International Financial Center, to accelerate blockchain and digital asset innovation within the UAE. That's pretty awesome. The new partnership will connect the next generation of developers with the DIFC Innovation Hub, the largest innovation community in the region and home to more than 1,000 growth stage tech firms, innovation companies, digital labs, venture capital firms, regulators, and educational entities. That's huge. The partnership will provide the means to drive blockchain and crypto adoption amongst early stage companies and scale-ups, as well as introduce and position the technology with traditional large strategic institutions and their use cases. The UAE is one of the most advanced jurisdictions globally when it comes to offering regulatory clarity for licensed firms to offer virtual asset services and fostering an environment in which the next generation of financial innovation can flourish, said Brad Garlinghouse. With the DIFC Innovation Hub, it promises to drive the adoption of blockchain technology in the region as the XRP ledger continues to be a leading blockchain for the region's startups and scale-ups building real use cases. You're being slaughtered and you don't realize it, says Raoul Pal on Impact Theory. Between bank failures last year and market crashes, unsustainable debt, and recent grim reports on the state of the economy, let's give a listen to this clip. This is a special interview of Raoul Pal and Peter Schiff on Theory Impact. Give a listen and put your thoughts and opinions down below. I'm going to end with this. Thank you for watching.
Acting like it's going to happen soon. But Is it? Like, how do we make sense of these numbers? Is there a nothing burger way out of this, or is this a guaranteed slaughter and we just don't know when?
You are being slaughtered and you don't realize it. It all happened already. It is underway. And everybody's waiting for that. All the assets are down 90%. It can't happen. It simply can't happen because it all happened in 2008. In 2008, the world stopped. The whole debt system blew up. We had to have a debt jubilee of resetting all government debts around the world at zero so we could afford to service it. We've kept rates low. We've been then using the balance sheet of all of the central banks just to pay the interest on the debt from the previous cycles. This is this everything code thesis that you and I have talked about. So we are paying the debts by printing money, pure debasement. The system broke in 2008. We then changed the financial system with the Basel III agreements, which forced the banks to lend less and to hold more treasuries. Why? There's going to be a lot of supply of treasuries. The whole system, everybody's aware that it's broken. It broke. So what is going on now? Well, for it to actually broke, the down 90%, it's all going to be 1929 again. Can't you just see it? You're missing the point. They're debasing the currency by 15% a year. It adds up to a staggering loss of wealth. It is a tax that you don't see. 15% a year debasement is easier than increasing your tax rate 15%, which is politically unacceptable, which is what they need to do to pay the debt, because the printing of money just debases the currency. So you are paying it. We are all paying it.
What they should do is default on the debt. That is the best thing to do because
they can't. They can't, Peter. I agree.
Right, I know that.
The Austrian thing is what they should have done. It was too late, and the reason being,
they're not gonna do the right thing.
Well, they can't because the baby boom.
Maybe Milei will do the right thing in Argentina at this point. We'll see.
Well, yeah, but they see the difference of the structure of the Western society is all the money's held by old people. The entire system is basically in the hands of retirees and all the wealth. So if you say all of their assets are down 75%, that is the wealth of the nation's gone. So nobody's going to do it.
Well, it's not all their assets, but yeah, they're debt, but they're gonna lose it through inflation either way. It's either default or debasement.
Of course.
But I wanted to point out, you talk about the national debt. Official national debt is $2 trillion, but the actual national debt, the budget deficit they claim is $2 trillion, but the national debt is already growing at $4 trillion a year. That's the rate that it's growing already. And during the next official recession, it's going to be on an even greater trajectory.
So the issue is why we all agree, right? But I just don't think it can collapse. Why? Because of debasement.
But that is a collapse. That's a collapse of the monetary system. And it could lead to hyperinflation.
Yeah. Let me just play out my thesis here, which is I don't disagree. You can't have assets going down 90%, the core collateral of the system, if they're debasing the currency because they go up optically because the currency is going down. The Venezuelan stock market goes up in Bolivar terms and down in dollar terms, right? So therefore, if your collateral keeps going up, which is what they learned in 2008, is we can backstop the entire thing by debasing the currency quickly, the collateral goes up, and hey presto, my debts aren't so bad. Okay, magic. It's not magic, as you know. It's a sleight of hand. It's not pure magic. What they're doing is robbing you in a different way. Okay, this has happened before. This is exactly what happened in the 1940s and 50s. Saddled with massive debts after World War II, the large economies did the same thing. Financial repression. They had yield curve control, which is buying of government bonds, keeping interest rates low, which we've seen, and they just printed money. And over time, the value of the debt had eroded. And what they'd managed to do was create a productivity miracle, which drove GDP growth.
One thing you're overlooking, though, a key difference back then. So after the Second World War, And the government ran up a lot of debt during the war. But they did it. They paid for a lot of the war with tax hikes. They had tremendous tax hikes, particularly the income tax, which tripled when the war started. In fact, they introduced the withholding tax in 1942 as a victory tax. So before the Second World War, hardly anybody paid income taxes. By the end of the Second World War, a lot of people were paying income taxes. And when the war ended, the government had all of this income tax revenue coming in. And they initially...
Warning.
But when they stopped the war, they didn't stop the income tax. And so the government was flush with cash. And so it paid down a lot of that debt. Debt collapsed in the years because the government ran huge surpluses and paid down a lot of that debt. So it wasn't all just inflated away. Yeah, when the 1960s and 70s rolled around, there was a lot of inflation. But the initial big drop in debt was an honest repayment because we stopped spending money on the war. The problem now is we haven't cut any spending. We're taxing people to the hilt right now, and we don't have the type of economy. We had a real industrial economy in the 1940s. We had wealthy consumers that loaned money to the government, that bought the war bonds. We sold the war bonds to China. You know, Americans are broke. So we're a levered up country running huge trade deficits. We have no means of repaying the debt like we did in 1946. So the debt is now going to go straight up. It's not going to go down like it did during those decades. We're just getting started. It's 125% of GDP. It's going to go to 150, 200%, 300%. It can't stop until everything implodes.
I don't disagree. I'm wildly, crazily bullish because I'm so bearish.
Bullish on what?
Assets. Because they're going
in nominal terms. In nominal terms.
Correct.
But in gold terms, a lot of these assets have to come down. Their real price has to come down.
So, I also believe that GDP growth equals productivity plus population plus debt growth. I think debt growth died in 2008, and all debt growth now is servicing of old debts. And population has been shrinking. So economies have been slow and productivity is low because of aging populations. We're just bringing AI and robots into the workforce. It's infinite humans. So GDP growth driven by productivity and population growth is what I think is on the horizon, which is what rescues this. But after what? 15% a year debasement of currency? You add 10 years of that and you've lost most of your money. If I'm right that AI plus robots is infinite productive units, and you see how fast it's coming, you literally are not capable of understanding what an economy looks like beyond 2030. That's the problem I've got here. I'm not concerned about the cliff of death, right, that we're going through. I found an asset that I can invest in, crypto, or I could buy technology, and it's offsetting the mess of the debasement, so I'm fine. What's harder is to say, what the hell does an economy mean after 2030 when you've got endless AI and robots and AGI? What is a company? What value do you provide in that world, or I provide? We sit there talking to people about it and thinking our way through it, but both you and I are developing AI tools of which we will have a digital Tom and a digital Raoul, and we don't even need to turn up to these, and they'll do a pretty good job. We're both working on these things, right? But are we going to be just replaced? The point being is when you go to like Nick Bostrom, who is the key thinker about this at Oxford University, who wrote the book, I can't remember the famous book about the whole kind of where the future's going. There's a group there, an economics group there, who share the same concerns as me. It's like, if this is right, you could double GDP in a year, global GDP, or a week. What do companies mean when AI... I have a theory that OpenAI is using AGI to build its own AI, which is why they're iterating so fast with, 500 people? It's fucking madness what they're doing. How fast they're iterating. I've never seen anything like it. Even Elon Musk is like, I've never seen anything like what's going on here. The more we have AI, to build businesses, the faster and faster this goes. So, in answer to your question, the explosion could be the other way around. It might not be the economy imploding. It could be the economy exploding in a way that we don't even know how to deal with it.